we are arriving at the best part of the class. This is my favorite part. This is where we actually come up with a plan to launch a company. And this is a set of tools that I think that you can kind of file away and dust off whenever it is that you actually decide to do this in your life. Most of this course is dedicated toward finding a good opportunity, which is probably the hardest part. A lot of times people leap past that and they don't do customer discovery. They don't start with a good customer and they just plow forward with the starting of the business based on their idea. And it's really important to not do that. It's important to have something that you've vetted. So there's this whole first part of customer discovery and customer validation and kind of like iterating on the idea. But eventually you arrive at this point where you're thinking like, okay, I think we're going to do this. And I can remember being on the T in Boston and asking my first business partner, it's almost like a proposal. You're saying, I want to do this. Do you want to do this? And you actually leap off and start the company. And it's at that moment that you become instantaneously overwhelmed because there are a billion things you have to do. You can't possibly do them all. And when you're starting, entrepreneurship is totally weird. It doesn't look impressive. You're going to have a lot of people giving you advice. A lot of family members are going to be wondering what you're doing, why you're not taking that internship or that job, why you're spending your weekends and nights working on this thing that you can see but other people can't see. And even the most successful startup of all time, Amazon.com, this is what it looked like in the beginning. It is not impressive looking. So you need to have some amount of confidence internally that you are headed in the right direction. And it's really hard to have that when you start. The most likely outcome from any startup is that the world is just completely indifferent to you and nothing really happens. So you're always fighting that inertia, that indifference that the world has for your job, for your idea. And so this tool that I'm going to walk you through is meant to be an antidote for that. It's meant to help you do something that actually gets off the ground. And the phrase that we use for it is radical prioritization. Because you don't have a lot of resources, your only chance to get somewhere that other people won't get is if you take the most direct line there. You can't be worrying about all the millions of other things that you probably need to do at some point. You have to just be going from point A to point B, and you can't be distracted by things that don't matter at that moment. So this startup launch plan, this is an activity we're going to do in class, and it's a thing you can kind of take with you for the rest of your career. It's currently in the form of a Google Sheet, and it's not all that pretty, just to be totally honest with you, but here's what's in it. And I've got a video that goes with each one of these sections. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to visualize success over a 3-year time horizon. So take a minute to kind of think and describe to yourself what your business is going to look like in 3 years, assuming that you're succeeding. And then what we start with is the activities that you're going to need to undertake to get there. So if I'm going to be 3 years into a really successful car business, I'm going to need to get an office. I'm going to have to find a URL, give the company a name. There's like a billion of these things. So we're going to make a huge list. Just purge your brain of all the things you're going to have to do. Then we're going to take a step back and we're going to say, on that 3-year journey, what are the key inflection points? What are the things that we're going to have to get to the point? Like we're going to have to form a team. Then we're going to have to get some customers, release a product. There's these kind of like really important inflection points in the life of your business. So we're going to identify some early inflection points. And then we're going to talk really honestly with co-founders about how much time do we have to dedicate toward this. If we're currently in school and we have 10 hours a week, that's good to know. If we're diving 100 hours a week full time into it, good to know. Do we have one person working on this? Do we have 10 people working on it? The amount of resources that we have is going to inform how aggressive a timeline that we can have as we get to launch. So we're going to take all those things and we're going to line them up. We're going to line up the time available, the key inflection points, and the activities that you have to do to get to each one of those inflection points. And when we're done, you're going to have the most important strategic objective in mind, exactly what you need to do to achieve it, and a deadline that everybody understands. And this doesn't guarantee your success, but what it does is it gives you this little pocket of comfort in knowing when you get out of bed in the morning what it is you need to go do. And if other people or competitors or the news tries to knock you off course by suggesting things that you should be doing, you can file those things away, add them to the list, but they won't distract you. And you'll be able to continue on your direct path to the next major milestone. So that's what we're going to do in the next series of videos and exercises. I'm excited to get started.